Evening. Coming to you on a super late night tip. So, typically I do these types of videos a lot more frequently, you know. But truth be told, a lot of times it's due to something someone may have said to me, or times when someone has reached out to want to talk or for help or something. What do I mean by that? Typically, it's not me, you know? So, I think that's what makes this particular video a little different, you know? So, I guess I can start by asking the question, what makes you feel frustration? What do you do upon feeling said frustration? Oftentimes in life, things aren't what we'd like them to be. Things don't always play out the way we expect them to. But I believe that it's very important to keep a level head and to try to manage your way, just because the waters are choppy, doesn't mean you can't make it, so frustration. Okay, I've had my fair share in life, primarily with myself, my own mistakes, my own choices. When I was a newer model, most of it came from outside sources. As I aged a little bit, it kind of transitioned to me not being my own worst enemy. What do I mean by that? Like, me not putting myself in positions to be frustrated. Me not giving in to my own frustrations. At least by trying to be cognizant of the fact that, and I'm speaking to myself, that being an impatient person, how can an impatient person go to being a patient person? How can an extremely angry person go to becoming caring? How can a violent person go to being hugging and kissing and loving? Those are all things that I used to be. I hated the world. I had contempt for most people around me. Even the people that was with me, to a large extent, I looked down on them. That type of attitude would allow me to say things and do things that today I would never do. And things like frustration would only exacerbate those things. So why am I making this video? I'm making this video because sometimes even in a crowded room you can be alone, and the last thing you want to do is be fighting yourself, so what is my situation? I'm in a situation that it's not that bad, but it's less than ideal, and there's a lot of unnecessary complications, when anytime circumstances like this arise in life, you can choose to make it easier on yourself or harder on yourself, but that could go one of several different ways. Go ahead, get up there. Go ahead, get up on the bed. Go ahead, babies. You want to get up there? Okay, you're gonna completely knock this shit over, so Let me get back on track here. There are a lot of different ways you can react to outside stimuli. You know, I prefer not to be reactionary, you know, but there are going to be a lot of things that come around in life where you don't have any choice but to be that way. You know, like my source of frustration is something where it's not something I decide, you know, and it's improper for me to, as well as morally and ethically against my set of principles, for me to try to manhandle or force, you know, a fix for or a solution for a problem. You know, but sometimes sometimes it just is what it is, man. Like, it's gonna be complicated. You know, like one of the things I mentioned earlier is just it kind of makes it feel magnified at times. Maybe things may feel more prominent than they really are. You know, i.e., the expression making a mountain out of a molehill. Because I could have the same attitude that most people have, you know, like, do me. Corny phrases like, I'm gonna do me, or, you know, me and mine, my circle, me, you know, inward focused shit, you know. I could be like the bitter people who run around, fuck everybody. You know, I don't give a fuck what you think, I don't give a fuck what she thinks, etc., etc. You know. But all these things that I've mentioned, that song and dance is old hat for me. You know, like, so when I'm trying to, I have a family member that died of a heroin overdose recently. It's not the first one. More like the third, fourth, fifth one in the last whenever the fuck. Motherfuckers just keep putting that shit in their veins and killing themselves. What does that have to do with this? You know, when you die by your own hand and shit, that's an extremely selfish act. That's difficult to say when someone you love is not here anymore. You know, especially when the wound is fresh. You know, but clarity is a motherfucker. So is honesty. You know, like, tough love is better than fake love. You know, I'd rather say those things and mean them than to bullshit my way through something and not be 100. You know, like, no matter how many situations I get into that are not the way I'd like them to be. Not just, you know, like something major, just from the smallest thing to the most important things in your life. You know, me personally, I try to look at all of those things and everything in between from my set of principles, morally and ethically. You know, and me talking to my camera is because It's the best listener right now. So, why did I mention my cousin on heroin? Because I just helped somebody get clean a few months back, and I never met them physically. It was all digital, phone calls, text messages, video chats, and it's not the only person. There's another person. 2 different hardcore drugs. One was heroin, the other one was crack. You know, and it's all been both through rehab and back. You know, why am I telling you that? Why am I even sharing personal information like that? Because if I would have just been easily frustrated with either one of these 2 shitheads, because that's what they were, you know, they turned their life around and became good people because they stopped being shitheads. You know? And at times it felt like it was too much of a burden for me to carry. You know? All I kept thinking though was like, if I can stick it out and be strong enough, this person might survive. They might end up better than they were before they knew me. You know? Unfortunately for me, you know, like my cousin was one of those people that was in denial, you know, refused to even talk to me about it. When I did talk to him about it, he tried to treat me like some fucking lame square motherfucker, like I didn't know what he was fucking doing. You know, and I knew, you know, but like, since he continued to just lie to my face in the video chat, you know, I just let him do what the fuck he did, you know, because like it's not like I didn't know he was lying. He had to have known that I knew he was lying, you know. So the moral to that story is like, the situation he ended up in, he didn't have to, you know. If he could have came to his own truth, honesty about his situation, you know, instead he got frustrated during the call. That's why I started the video about frustration. You know, the 2 people that I helped get clean and shit, that was heavy lifting. It was a lot of, and these are people that reached out to me, from either watching some of my YouTube shit or following me on Instagram, you know, and then after just regular conversations because a lot of times when you message people, whether it's a celebrity or a regular person, they won't even fucking respond to you, you know, and these people just messaged me out of the blue, you know. It wasn't all heavy at first, but I'm a genuine person, and I put down what I was doing to try to help them, and I feel better about it now because I know they're in a better place, you know, and they were with all the bullshit. The fucking middle of the night calls, crying, talking about crazy shit that you don't repeat, you know. And even when I wanted to give up and go to sleep and shit, all I could think of is, what about their parents? What if I'm the last person on earth that even gives a fuck enough to listen to what these people got to say? You know, and if I hang up the phone, or if I treat them like other people have treated me, what if they turn back to that needle and next thing you know, they're ghosts? You know? Most of the time I view some of my activities as therapeutic, like lifting weights, playing video games, taking my dogs for walks. You know, I'm using some of the therapy tactics that I try to help other people with on myself right now. Something that my mom taught me. You know, when I was little, and I would fucking piss her off to no extent, and I wouldn't listen, and I would fucking overtalk her and talk shit and just be stupid. She would write me letters, you know. Sometimes she would give them to me, sometimes she wouldn't. She would just write them, you know. And I looked at it like it was dumb. Now I understand, you know. Because I was that person who didn't want to hear a fucking thing that she had to say, you know. But luckily the Creator allowed me to live long enough to realize that, like, that was coming from a place of love and a place of wisdom, and I should have fucking listened. you know. But like, luckily for me, unlike some of my friends and family, I didn't get taken away too soon before I could, like, the light bulb could turn on, you know, and I was able to reap the harvest from the seeds that she sowed, you know. So shouts out to her, you know. Shouts out to the two dudes that I helped get clean, you know. It's like the whole spirit of this shit is that without me, there's no you. Without you, there's no me. You know? Like, why the fuck do I do the things that I do? You know? I don't get paid for none of this shit. I'm not really getting nothing out of it other than positive energy. You know? Okay. We're gonna say something like rant over, but at least I got to get it off my chest.